Micro Machines Mini Challenge Mayhem sounded like an extremely promising and exciting game to review today. As a fan of the original Micro Machine games over the years, the originals were some of the best multiplayer racing games back in the day, and it was because it was such a great mixture of characters, varying room styles, levels and vehicles. But this is about as far away as you could get from those games. So what exactly is Micro Machines VR all about? Well, it's pretty simple. It's speed management. All you have to do is pull the right trigger. You can't steer the car, so it's all about correctly judging when and if you should use your boost to make the jump, while pressing the A button to do a stunt to collect some extra points. At its core, it's a time trials game with some extra modes, but regardless of what you play, it always boils down to time and how many stars you get to unlock more Micro Machines. When you start the game, time trials is the only mode where the tracks are already made for you. The rest of the game is all about you having to make the game yourself by making the tracks. There is a few fixed points that you need to join up though. You either have to race to the end or smash things. Actually, that's about it. I was kind of expecting some sort of Grand Prix mode or something where you race other cars, and there's just none of that in this game. The graphics are pretty nice, and there's 3 cameras available to race from. One of them is a third person, which is just behind the car, and probably the one I would recommend most people use. The other is in first person, which I enjoyed the most, but I do think some people might feel a bit ill from it. And room view, which is the only one that actually made me feel like I was racing miniature cars inside my own bedroom. Now, one of the disadvantages of this particular viewpoint is you have no idea where the cars are, where the track goes, and because you're stuck in a certain place, you can't really see what's going on. So what you need to do to keep an eye on the action is to teleport around the world as the racing is going on. Luckily, time slows down, and it actually just breaks up what little excitement you would have had watching the car race. There's quite a few cars for you to unlock and upgrades. Things like tyres, engines, paint jobs, and all of these things affect the performance and therefore your times on each level. Now up to this point, this is about as positive as I can be about Micro Machines Mini Challenge Mayhem. The game is simply boring to play, and while it is a challenge not to crash or fall off the tracks, after about 20 minutes I was only forcing myself to play to make this video to warn you guys not to play it. If you have ever experienced something called Scalet, that is what this feels like. You're just pulling and not pulling the trigger to make it around the tracks. But what makes Scalet exciting is having someone to play it with, to race. And as I said earlier, this is a single player experience. And overall, I found very little reason to keep me playing. In fact, for most of you, there will only be one reason to keep playing, and that is to unlock cars. So if you are crazy for Micro Machine toys, you might actually enjoy this. But for everyone else, I just wouldn't pick this up. There's a number of frustrations too. Turning is on the left controller, which I don't think I've ever experienced in VR before, and if there's a jump, for example, that you messed up because you weren't going fast enough, the restart points simply don't put you back far enough to be able to get a decent run up to make the jump again, meaning you have to restart the whole track. And since the game wasn't very fun to begin with, this just becomes draining. If you decide to modify a car and make it extremely fast, all you're going to do is hit walls and come off the tracks. Or alternatively, you can play the game as best you can by managing how much you push the throttle, but overall the gameplay just felt very unrewarding. I went in full of energy and I left completely drained. So much so, I almost didn't make this video, and the only reason I am is to save you guys money. This is available on Steam and Quest. On Steam there is plenty of racing games out there, so I've no idea why anyone would buy this, but for Quest owners looking for something similar to this, I would heavily suggest Trackcraft. It's much more engaging, it looks better, and is a much more rewarding experience. Plus the mixed reality mode is fantastic. Micro Machines does have mixed reality, by the way, but I honestly didn't care to check it out. Alternatively, there's also a game called Blaze Rush, which I absolutely love. It's got weapons and it definitely feels like what a Micro Machines game should be. In fact, it actually plays exactly the same as the original Micro Machines games, and it has online multiplayer. If that's what you're after, that is the game you should be getting. If any of you guys have played this and you feel differently, please let me know down in the comments below. I will also include a 25% off link in the video description, and for those of you like me who are excited to play a Micro Machines game in VR, I'm really sorry to be the bearer of bad news. If this video helped you at all, please remember to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all on the next one.